You know that moment your husband confesses he invested your inheritance in his mistress's career right at your own housewarming party. He thought that $75,000 was all I had. He didn't know that was just the bait. He definitely didn't know I wasn't just preparing for a divorce. I was preparing for a cleansing. He thought he was playing chess, but my late aunt taught me how to flip the entire board. My name is Maya. I am 38 years old, and my smile is currently locked on the perfect hostess setting. It's a chilly autumn evening in Ken Carroll, Denver, but inside our new home, the air is thick. It's suffocating, a heavy mix of expensive perfume, spilled Cabernet, and the forced laughter of people who want something. This house, with its panoramic views of the foothills, was meant to be a fresh start. Tonight, it just feels like a beautifully constructed stage for a very bad play. My husband, Leo, is holding court by the floor-to-ceiling windows. At 40, he's still the star financial advisor, the center of every room, the man who can make a story about municipal bonds sound like an action movie. He just delivered a punchline about interest rates, and the responding laughter is entirely too loud. He thrives on this attention. I just want them to use a coaster on the new walnut shelves. I move through the crowd, a phantom in my own home. I refill a glass here, accept a hollow compliment on the countertops there. These are our friends. That means they are mostly his clients or their wives. People impressed by the high ceilings and the quartz island I spent 6 months agonizing over and paying for. My best friend, Fiona, catches my eye from across the room. She's leaning against the patio door, nursing a gin and tonic, deliberately staying on the edge of the fray. Her gaze isn't celebratory. It's sharp. It's knowing. It's an "are you okay" look that cuts straight through the noise. I give her the smallest shake of my head, the one that means not yet. Leo spots me. He's 3 craft IPAs deep. I can tell by the flush on his neck and the way his voice has risen half an octave. Maya, baby. He slings a heavy arm around my waist, pulling me away from a boring conversation about Colorado ski season. He steers me toward the kitchen, his hand gripping my hip a little too tightly, a gesture that looks affectionate but feels like an anchor. He backs me into the corner, pinning me playfully against the new side-by-side refrigerator. The stainless steel door is cold against my back. I know exactly how much this appliance cost because I just paid the final installment on it last Tuesday. He smells like hops and expensive cologne and a sickening, underlying layer of self-satisfaction. He leans in close, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper, but his eyes are bright with sloppy, drunken pride. "You know that money from Aunt Clara," he murmurs, his breath warm and sour on my ear. The $75,000, my stomach doesn't drop. It doesn't flutter. It just hardens, solidifies into a block of ice. I keep the smile fixed. Well, I invested it. He says the word invested like he just conquered Wall Street, like he's done me a massive favor. Chloe needed the startup capital. It's a sure thing, babe. A life coaching brand. Chloe, his 26-year-old life coach. The one whose Instagram feed is a relentless stream of plagiarized motivational quotes typed over photos of her own bikini-clad body in Bali, Tulum, and Ibiza. The one he's been having late-night development sessions with for the past 8 months. I wait for the apology. I wait for the "I know I should have asked," or the "it was a mistake. I'll fix it." It never comes. He's beaming, genuinely believing he's done something brilliant. It's about passive income streams. Maya, you wouldn't really understand the business side of it, but trust me, she's going to be huge. We'll double that money in a year. He said he didn't just give her my money. He made them partners. He took the last gift from the only family I had left, a woman who despised him, and handed it to a girl who thinks Namaste is a brand of yoga pants. I feel the blood in my veins turn to sludge, thick and cold. I feel the microscopic tremor starting in my fingers, the one that threatens to betray the rage. He stands there, swaying slightly, waiting for applause, waiting for me to tell him how smart and daring he is for spending my inheritance on his mistress. I force the smile to widen just a fraction. I reach up and straighten his collar, my fingers brushing the skin of his neck. He leans into the touch, content as a fed cat. "Wonderful, darling," I say, my voice impossibly light, breezy. Not a crack in the facade. That's very proactive. We'll talk about the details later. He kisses me, a sloppy, beer-flavored kiss that lands mostly on my cheek. "See, I told you," he says, more to himself than to me. He turns and strides back into the living room, already looking for someone else to impress. I stay by the fridge for another 10 seconds, letting the cold steel seep into my shoulder blades, anchoring me. Then I push off. I pick up an empty wine glass from the counter, check my reflection in the dark microwave door, smile still in place, not a hair disturbed. I walk back into the living room toward a cluster of his colleagues laughing too loudly by the fireplace. More Chardonnay, anyone? I ask. My hand, as I lift the heavy bottle, is perfectly steady. The party noise fades to a dull roar, a meaningless static. All I can hear is the echo of my Aunt Clara's voice, raspy from years of filterless cigarettes and shouting at dock workers. She'd built her logistics empire from a single rusty truck and $2,000 she won in a poker game. She took one look at Leo 10 years ago, listened to him talk for 5 minutes about his portfolio strategy, and took me aside. "Maya," she said, tapping her acrylic nail on my arm. "Pretty boys with nice words usually have empty wallets and even emptier morals. Don't you ever let that smile cost you." I wish I could tell her I listened. In a way, I did. That $75,000 wasn't just an inheritance. It was a test. Aunt Clara had called it her loyalty test fund. When she was dying, she set up that one specific account, separate from the rest of her estate. It was deliberately, painfully easy to access. A joint savings account, listed under both our names, with a debit card and full online transfer privileges for Leo. "Let's just see if he can behave himself when he thinks no one's watching," she'd rasped. I thought it was cynical. Turns out, it was prophetic. Leo, of course, saw it as our windfall. I saw it as a time bomb. I think back over our 10-year marriage, a high-definition slideshow of my American Express statements. I was the senior UI/UX designer at a top tech firm. He was the star advisor whose charm was his primary asset. Charm doesn't pay a mortgage in Ken Carroll. My salary did. My salary paid for this house, for the down payment on his gleaming Audi, for the ski vacations to Vail, for the ridiculously expensive wine he's pouring for his friends right now as if he paid for it. His contribution was to look good in the photos and tell everyone how we were doing so well. The shift started about 6 months ago. It was subtle at first. He became obsessed with self-development. His nights were filled with webinars run by con artists in bad suits, promising to unlock his alpha potential. Then came the late-night client meetings that stretched past midnight. His excuses became flimsy, his eyes unfocused. He started talking about energy and alignment. And then, about 3 months ago, he mentioned her name, Chloe. She was his new mindset coach, helping him optimize his personal brand. He needed a lot of one-on-one sessions. He encouraged me to follow her on Instagram. I did. It was a wasteland of meaningless platitudes and photos of her backside. The real poison wasn't just the cheating. It was the condescension. For years, I'd talked about my dream of leaving the corporate world, of opening my own small design studio, a place to create something real, something tangible. Leo always treated it with a pat on the head. "That's so cute, babe," he'd say. "It's great to have a passion project, but it's not realistic. Is it leave the real investments to me?" He always believed I was the naive one, the artist, good at making things pretty, but clueless about how the real world worked. He, the financial wizard, was the one who understood money, risk, and opportunity. He genuinely believed he was smarter than me. He looked at my six-figure salary as some happy accident, a resource he had the intellectual right to manage and, apparently, to liquidate. He wasn't just an unfaithful husband, he was a parasite. He looked at me, his wife of a decade, and saw a sponsor, a gullible, high-earning fool who would just keep funding his life while he looked for a younger, more adoring upgrade. That confession in the kitchen wasn't a slip-up. It was a boast. He was proud of himself. I glanced back at Fiona. She's watching me, her eyes unblinking. Her look is not pity. It's not, "I'm so sorry." It's a silent, loaded question. Is it done? She's the only person on this planet who knows I stopped trusting Leo 8 months ago, long before Chloe was even in the picture. She knows my suspicions started with a few small, unexplainable withdrawals from our checking account. She knows I wasn't just hoping for the best. I was waiting for the worst. And Leo, drunk and arrogant, just gift-wrapped it and handed it to me. Leo is still holding court, laughing. He's the king of his new castle, proud of the $75,000 business decision he just announced. He is so spectacularly, profoundly stupid. He thinks he just spent the last of my inheritance. He believes, with all his hollow heart, that he just stole the last piece of Aunt Clara's legacy. He's wrong. Aunt Clara didn't just leave me $75,000. That was the appetizer. That was the loyalty test fund she set up when she was already sick. The one she made sure to tell me about when Leo was in the room. "Just a little something to help you kids with the house," she'd said, her eyes boring into him. The real will. The one Leo's grasping little hands and his golf buddy lawyers could never find. Sits in the downtown offices of Ms. Harding, attorney at law. That document outlines the rest of her estate. A trust fund, carefully structured and managed, valued at just over $2 million, and I can't touch a single dime of it. Not yet. My aunt was a logistical genius who saw the world as a series of if-then statements. She left me 2 keys to unlock that $2 million. Key number 1 was simple. I turn 40. A safe patient route. That's in 2 years. And after tonight, I don't have the patience to wait 2 more minutes. Key number 2, however, is where my aunt's true genius shines. It's a special provision, a legal masterpiece she drafted with Harding, one that made me gasp when I first read it. She called it the Clara Protocol. The protocol states that the trust will bypass the age requirement and be liquidated into my sole possession, immediately and irrevocably, on the day I file for divorce. But there was a condition, a 2-part trigger. I had to provide irrefutable, court-admissible proof of 2 things happening concurrently. 1, marital infidelity. 2, gross financial misconduct or fraud. Aunt Clara didn't just dislike Leo, she'd clocked him from the moment he shook her hand and complimented her house. "He's a leech, Maya," she warned me. "And leeches get greedy." She knew he would cheat. She also knew he would eventually get his hands on my money. She was just betting he'd be stupid enough to do both at the same time. She didn't just give me a safety net, she gave me a loaded gun and told me to wait. This is why I've been breathing recycled air for the last 8 months. This is why I didn't burn the house down when I first found the texts to Chloe 4 months ago. The infidelity was the easy part. I have the receipts from the hotel near his office. I have the screenshots of the life coaching texts he forgot to delete from his synced tablet. I have enough to prove he's a cheat, but that alone wasn't enough. Infidelity would get me a divorce, and in Colorado, it would get me half of our shared assets. It wouldn't unlock the $2 million. It wouldn't satisfy the Clara Protocol. I needed the financial fraud. I needed him to be so arrogant, so dismissive of my intelligence, that he would steal from me in a way I could prove. That $75,000 account was the cheese. I just had to wait for the rat to get greedy enough to take it. And tonight, drunk on my Cabernet, in my kitchen, standing against my refrigerator, he did it. He confessed, out loud, to taking marital assets which he thought were my sole inheritance and investing them in his mistress's vanity project. He didn't just stumble into the trap. He performed a swan dive. He thinks, if I ever find out, It will be his word against mine. He thinks he can claim he was drunk, that I misunderstood, that it was a loan we discussed. He's already forgotten the conversation, but I won't. I move away from the crowd, heading toward the powder room. I catch my reflection in the hallway mirror. My smile is still perfect. My makeup is immaculate, and pinned to the lapel of my black silk dress is a small, antique brooch. It's a bumblebee, intricately crafted from gold and onyx. It was Aunt Clara's. She wore it every day. A symbol of industry. Maya, she'd tell me. And a reminder that even small things carry a powerful sting. Leo has always hated it. He calls it gaudy, old-fashioned. Tonight, it's my star witness. The bee's left antenna isn't just gold wire. It's a high-fidelity directional microphone. It's been actively recording since Leo pulled me against the refrigerator. I have his confession. Every slurred, self-satisfied, monumentally stupid word captured in crystal-clear audio, already uploading to a secure triple-encrypted cloud server that Ms. Harding has access to. Aunt Clara didn't just build the cage. She made sure I had the key to lock it from the outside. The sun is an insult. It's 8 in the morning, and the light streaming into the kitchen is aggressively cheerful, illuminating the battlefield from the night before. Wine glasses, half full, cover every surface. A plate of dried-out hors d'oeuvres sits congealing on the counter. The house smells like stale alcohol and regret. My regret, however, is not for the mess. It's for the 10 years I wasted. Leo stumbles downstairs just after 9:30, a caricature of a hungover husband. He's wearing gray sweatpants and an old college t-shirt, his hair sticking up, his face puffy. He groans as he walks into the kitchen, shielding his eyes from the light. Ugh, my head, he mutters. He shuffles past me, where I'm loading the dishwasher, and goes straight to the coffee machine. He pours a mug, takes a sip, and grimaces. God, Maya, this is burnt. Did you make this an hour ago? I pause, my hand holding a champagne flute. I look at him. Just look. I watch him as a scientist would observe a specimen in a petri dish. He is a simple organism, driven by basic appetites. He is hungover. His coffee is bad. This is the extent of his reality. Last night does not exist for him. The confession, the pride, the casual, life-destroying betrayal, all of it washed away by a few hours of REM sleep and too much IPA. He has no memory of detonating our marriage by the refrigerator. I turn back to the dishwasher, my mask sliding perfectly into place. Sorry, I was trying to get a head start on the mess. I've been up since 7. My voice is tired. It's the voice of a long-suffering wife, weary from hosting a party for her husband's benefit. It's a role I've played for years, and it fits him as comfortably as his favorite sweater. He grunts. Accepting this, my silence, my fatigue, is precisely what he expects. It confirms his worldview. I am the reliable, boring infrastructure of his life. I am not a threat. I am not, in his mind, capable of being a threat. He sips his bad coffee, then sits at the kitchen island. My kitchen island. It was a good party, though, he says, already rewriting history. My clients were really impressed with the house. Tom Bishop was asking me about the finish on the cabinets. My clients. The house. He rubs his temples, then gives me a calculated, weary smile. Hey, speaking of finances, the lease is up on the Audi next month. I was at the dealership, and the new model has that tech package I've been wanting. I was thinking, I'll probably need a little extra from the main account for the down payment. Just to lock in the 0% financing, I stop moving completely. The water running in the sink is the only sound. He did it again. Less than 12 hours after confessing to giving $75,000 of my money to his 26-year-old mistress, he is asking me for more, for a car. He has no idea that the bee on my lapel last night was a microphone. He has no idea that his casual, boastful confession is now a time-stamped MP3 file sitting on a server. He just sees the ATM, and he's annoyed it's not dispensing cash fast enough. I look at this man I once loved. this stranger who built a life inside mine. I see the lines around his eyes, the slight paunch he's developing, the weakness in his chin that his charm always disguised. There is nothing left, no anger, no heartbreak, just a cold, clean space where my love used to be. It's time to fumigate. My phone vibrates on the counter, a sharp buzz against the quartz. I dry my hands and pick it up. A text message from Fiona. Is it time I feel a switch flip inside my chest? The performance is over. The data has been gathered. The testing phase is complete. It is time to execute. I type back a single 3-word reply. Tonight. Team Innovate. Innovate Solutions is the name of the tech company where I work. It's the place Leo thinks I go every day to design user-friendly interfaces, the cute job that pays for his realistic investments. It's also the codename Ms. Harding and I established for the legal and accounting team I hired 6 months ago. I slip the phone into my pocket and turn back to Leo. I put on my work face. Calm, professional, efficient. I have to get ready for work, I say. I walk over to him, the man still waiting for an answer about his car. He tilts his head up, expecting his goodbye kiss. I lean down. I press my lips against his. The contact is dry, cool, and brief. It's like closing a laptop. It's the seal on a contract termination. We'll talk about the car later, I say, my voice neutral. I walk out of the kitchen, leaving him there with his burnt coffee. In the house he thinks is his. I don't drive south to the Innovate Solutions campus. I take the 605 north, merging into the morning commuter traffic. Just another professional woman in a sensible sedan heading to work. But I don't get off at the tech center exit. I drive straight into the heart of downtown Denver, to the glass and steel canyons where the real power resides. My destination is a building that doesn't have a name, just a number. The lobby is a mausoleum of Italian marble and abstract art. I take the silent, high-speed elevator to the 42nd floor. The doors open onto a reception area of brushed steel and gray leather. The only sound is the quiet clicking of a keyboard. A severe woman in a black suit looks up. Ms. Vance, she's waiting for you. I am shown into a corner office with a view that stretches all the way to the Flatirons. There are no family photos, no dying plants, just law books, framed degrees, and a desk that looks like a slab of polished obsidian. Behind it sits Ms. Harding. If Aunt Clara was a force of nature, Ms. Harding is a force of law. She's in her late 50s, with salt and pepper hair pulled into a chignon so tight it looks painful. She's wearing a dark navy suit that probably cost more than my first car. This is the woman Aunt Clara trusted with her entire estate. In Denver's elite circles, they call her the Steel Queen. She doesn't handle divorces. She handles dissolutions of assets. She's been on my retainer for 6 months, ever since I first found the discrepancy in the checking account, the one Leo blamed on a bank error. Aunt Clara's will had instructed me to contact Harding if I ever had that feeling. My feeling was a $2,000 transfer I didn't recognize. Harding looks up as I enter. She doesn't smile. She just gestures to the chair opposite her. Maya. I sit. I don't waste time with pleasantries. I reach up to the lapel of my coat, unpin the golden bee, and slide it across the vast, dark desk. He confessed last night, I say. The full $75,000. He gave it to the girl, Chloe. He called it a startup investment. Harding picks up the brooch, examining it with a dispassionate, professional curiosity. She looks at me, and for the first time, I see the barest hint of a smile, a tiny, sharp, upward tick at the corner of her mouth. Excellent, she says, her voice as dry as old paper. Add it to the pile. She swivels in her chair and retrieves a thick, spiral-bound report from her credenza. She slides it across the desk to me. The cover reads, Forensic Accounting Analysis L, Vance Accounts. The recording is perfect, she says. It's the final nail. It proves intent. It proves gross misconduct with a shared asset. It triggers the protocol. But I was rather hoping you'd show up today. This came in from my investigator an hour ago. You should see what he's really been spending your money on. I open the report. It's not about Chloe. It's not about $75,000. It's page after page of spreadsheets, bank statements, and credit card reports. Small transactions, stretching back over a year. $1,000 here, moved from my personal savings account, the one I had before we were married, to our joint checking. $2,000 there, paid to a consulting LLC I'd never heard of. $1,500, $800, a steady, systematic bleed. Leo has been siphoning money from your private accounts for 18 months, Harding explains, tapping a line item with a silver pen. He created a shell LLC, Vance Financial Strategies, and has been paying himself consulting fees from your money. He was sloppy. He used the same laptop you bought him for Christmas to do it. I keep turning the pages. The shell company's bank records are there. The money goes in, and it immediately goes out. To offshore sports betting websites, to online poker rooms, to cover margin calls on a high-risk trading account he opened in his own name. He has a significant gambling problem. Maya, Harding says, her voice devoid of sympathy. He's been hiding it for at least 2 years. The late-night client meetings. He was at a private poker room in Lodo. He wasn't just cheating on you. He was robbing you to pay his debts. I finally understand. Chloe wasn't the disease. She was just the flashy, human-shaped symptom. The $75,000 wasn't the first theft. It was just the most arrogant. He'd been getting away with the small-time siphoning for so long that when Aunt Clara's easy money landed in his lap, he felt invincible. He thought he was a player. He's just an addict. So the $75,000 for Chloe, I say, the cold, clean logic clicking into place, was an act of sheer, sloppy desperation. Harding finishes. He's probably been promising her that money for months. He couldn't siphon it fast enough, so when your aunt's loyalty fund showed up, he saw it as a solution. He paid off the mistress to keep her quiet, probably thinking he could win it all back before you ever noticed. I closed the report. The man I'm married to doesn't exist. He's a ghost, a fiction I've been living with. So we have him, I say. It's not a question. Harding takes the bee brooch and drops it into a labeled evidence bag. We have him on marital infidelity, she says, ticking points off on her fingers. We have him on a year-long pattern of systematic financial fraud. And now, thanks to your little bee, we have a direct verbal confession of misusing marital assets for the benefit of a third party, his mistress. She stands up and looks out the window, at the city spread out below her. The 2 triggers of the Clara Protocol have been met. Irrefutably, we are no longer preparing for a divorce. Maya, we are executing an extraction. Harding gathers the report and the evidence bag, placing them in a locked drawer. The petition for divorce and the ex parte motion to freeze his assets are ready to be filed. We can have him served by 5 p.m., which brings us to the final variable. She levels her gaze at me. The mistress, Chloe, what is the plan for her? Do we add her to the suit as a co-conspirator in the dissipation of marital assets? I shake my head, a slow, deliberate motion. No, she's not the target. She's a tool. Harding raises a perfectly plucked eyebrow. She accepted $75,000 of stolen money. She accepted $75,000 from a man she thought was a brilliant, wealthy investor. I counter. She's not a master criminal. Ms. Harding. She's a 26-year-old girl from Nebraska who got a boob job and thinks manifesting is a business plan. My investigator hadn't just looked into Leo. He'd done a full workup on Chloe. She was exactly what she appeared to be: vapid, ambitious, and profoundly naive. She had no idea about Leo's gambling, his debts, or the fact that his entire lifestyle was funded by me. According to my investigator's surveillance, I continue, Leo hasn't just been lying to me. He's been lying to her. He told her he was unhappily married to a sick woman, that I was unstable and that our marriage was just a matter of time. He promised to leave me as soon as I was well enough, and then he was going to marry her. The classic, Harding mutters, unimpressed. She's a pawn, I say, and a pawn can be sacrificed, or it can be turned. I'm going to turn her. Harding looks at me, a long, analytical stare. That's a risk. She could run straight back to him. She won't, I say, standing up. He's been selling her a fantasy life. I'm about to show her the reality of a federal lawsuit. She's a self-obsessed influencer. The only thing she cares about more than Leo's money is her own reputation. And I'm about to threaten both. 2 hours later, I'm sitting in a booth at a neutral, painfully hip coffee shop in the Highlands. It's the kind of place that charges $7 for a latte and plays obscure indie rock. It's her turf, not mine. I want her to feel comfortable, right before I pull the rug out from under her. She walks in at 2 o'clock on the dot, 10 minutes late. She's exactly what you'd expect from her Instagram. Impossibly long blonde extensions, aggressively white teeth, and leggings that must have been spray painted on. She's wearing oversized sunglasses indoors. She spots me and glides over, all manufactured confidence and fake smiles. "Maya, hi," she says, her voice a high, breathy chirp. She slides into the booth, not offering to shake my hand. It's so weird Leo never had us meet. I feel like I know you. I give her a small, tight smile. Let's skip the pleasantries. Chloe, I'm not here for coffee. I'm here to offer you a choice. Her smile falters. The professional life coach facade cracks. A choice I don't know what you mean. I slide a manila folder across the table. It's not the real report. It's a carefully curated selection of highlights, prepared by Ms. Harding's team. Open it. She hesitates, then slowly opens the folder. The first thing she sees is a printed bank statement. The $75,000 transfer. My name is clearly visible on the account. That's the seed money Leo gave you, I say, my voice low and calm. Except it wasn't his to give. It was my inheritance. He stole it. Her face goes white. The surgically sculpted tan suddenly looks gray. What no? He said. He said it was from a stock market win. He said it was his investment in my brand. He lied, I say. I slide a second paper over. A summary of the forensic accountant's report, simplified for a layperson. It shows the flow of money, the gambling debts, the siphoning from my accounts. Leo is broke. Chloe. He's a gambling addict, and he's been robbing me blind for almost 2 years to cover his losses. She's shaking her head, her eyes wide, the reality crashing into her curated fantasy. No, no, you're lying. He loves me. He's leaving you. You're just a bitter, sick old wife trying to scare me. Am I? I lean in, and for the first time, I let the ice in my veins come through in my voice. The money he gave you was stolen. That makes you a recipient of stolen funds. You've commingled it with your own accounts. You've spent it. In the eyes of the law, that makes you an accomplice to financial fraud. Accomplice. Her voice is a terrified squeak. I'm filing for divorce this afternoon. With it, my attorney is filing a civil suit against Leo for fraud. Right now, your name is on that suit. Chloe Martin, D.B.A., Chloe Life Coaching, LLC. How do you think that's going to look to your followers when the summons is served, when your bank account is frozen right alongside his all that manifesting you do? Get ready to manifest a criminal defense attorney. She's breathing fast, her eyes darting around the coffee shop, realizing she's trapped. The confidence is gone, revealing the scared 26-year-old underneath. I didn't know, I swear. I didn't know any of it. He told me. I know what he told you. I cut her off, and I'm giving you one chance, and one chance only, to save yourself. This is your choice. I slide a third document across the table. It's a simple, one-page affidavit, drafted by Ms. Harding. Option 1, you stick with Leo. You go down with him. My legal team will strip you of every penny you have, including the $75,000, and I will make sure your name is attached to every public filing. Your brand will be toxic waste before you're 30. Or, I continue, tapping the paper. Option 2, you sign this. It's a sworn statement. It says you had no knowledge of Leo's fraud. It says he lied to you about the source of the funds. You agree to cooperate fully with my attorneys and to return whatever is left of the $75,000. In exchange, I will ensure your name is removed from the lawsuit, and you will walk away from this clean." She stares at the paper as if it's a life raft. She looks at me, her eyes filled with tears, a mix of terror and disbelief. "You have until I finish this coffee," I say, picking up my cup. "Choose wisely, Chloe." She grabs the pen on the table so fast she almost knocks over the sugar dispenser. She doesn't even read the full document. She just signs her name at the bottom, her hand shaking so badly the signature is almost illegible. "I'll do it," she whispers, pushing the paper back at me. "I'll give it back. I have most of it. I bought some bags and a laptop." "I'll give it all back. Please, don't ruin me. He's a monster." I take the signed affidavit and fold it neatly, placing it in my purse. "He is. And you were his stupid, willing tool. Now you're mine. You'll be hearing from my lawyer with instructions on how to return the money." I stand up, leaving my full coffee on the table. "And Chloe, stay away from my husband. Stay away from my house. And if you ever contact him again, this affidavit gets accidentally leaked to every gossip blog in Denver. Are we clear?" She just nods, a deer in the headlights, her world of affirmations and bikini photos completely shattered. I walk out of the coffee shop, leaving her to figure out the bill. The pawn was off the board. Now it was time to checkmate the king. I'm back in my car, parked on a side street, before I even call Ms. Harding. I've already scanned and emailed her Chloe's signed affidavit. She answers on the first ring. "I have it." "The electronic filing was just submitted to the court." "How long?" I ask. "It's an ex parte emergency motion. Maya, we're not asking for a hearing. We're reporting a crime in progress. We've presented a mountain of evidence, the forensic report, the signed affidavit from the recipient of the stolen funds, and a high-fidelity audio recording of a confession. We have demonstrated a clear and present danger of irreparable financial harm and active dissipation of marital assets." She pauses. "The judge will sign it. It's not a matter of if, but when. I expect the order to be active within the hour." I get the call 2 hours later, at 3:15 p.m. I'm at my desk at Innovate Solutions, pretending to review wireframes for a new app. "It's done," Harding's voice says in my ear. "The order is signed. The freeze is active. All known assets, bank accounts, and credit lines in his name, or in which he has a joint interest, are now frozen. He can't move $1. At that exact moment, 20 miles away in his own glass and steel tower, Leo is feeling on top of the world. He's charmed a new client, a wealthy retiree, into moving his entire portfolio to the firm. He's thinking about the commission. He's also thinking about the $20,000 margin call he's been ignoring, and the impatient bookie who needs to be paid by 5 p.m. He logs into his private banking portal, the one he's so proud of. He just needs to move some money from our joint savings, the account he thinks is still flush with my salary, into his personal trading account. He types in the numbers, clicks Confirm Transfer. A red box appears. Transaction failed, account unavailable. Contact your administrator. He frowns. Administrator. He tries again. Same message. A prickle of annoyance. The bank's website must be glitching. He tries the joint checking account. Account unavailable. He tries his personal credit card, the one with the $30,000 limit he uses for client dinners. He opens the app to check the balance. Account frozen. The annoyance is now turning to a hot, flushing anger. This is costing him time. He picks up his desk phone and dials the private client hotline, the one that's supposed to give him an agent in 10 seconds. "This is Leo Vance," he snaps, skipping the pleasantries. "My accounts are locked, all of them. There's a technical error in your system, and you need to fix it. Now." There's a pause on the other end, the sound of polite typing. The bank representative's voice comes back, no longer warm and obsequious, but cool and formal. "Mr. Vance, I see your accounts here. It's not a technical error, sir. There is a temporary judicial hold placed on all assets, effective as of 14:45 Mountain Time. Leo's brain doesn't compute the words. Judicial hold. What does that mean? Is this about that identity theft alert from last month? Just unlock it. Sir, the rep says, his voice flat. I cannot. This is a temporary restraining order, signed by a judge. We are legally barred from processing any transactions. Your accounts are frozen. Frozen. The word hits him. He hangs up on the rep without saying goodbye. His mind is racing. A judge, a court order. It makes no sense. This has to be a mistake. A massive, catastrophic mistake. He immediately dials my number. My phone buzzes on my desk. I look at the caller ID. Leo. I let it ring twice, then pick up, putting on my busy at work voice. Hi, what's up? I'm in the middle of a code review. Maya, thank God. Something is seriously wrong with the bank. His voice is high, stressed, the charm replaced by pure panic. They're saying the accounts are frozen, all of them. Even my Amex. They said a judicial order. It's insane. You need to call them right now. Call our rep at the branch and tell them to fix this. I lean back in my ergonomic chair. I look out the window at the blue sky. I feel absolutely nothing. Oh, I say, my voice light, distracted. Frozen. That's so weird. That sounds really annoying. Darling. Gosh, I'm just slammed right now. I'm in back-to-back meetings until 6. I'm sure you can get it sorted out. You're the finance expert, right? You handle it. What, Maya? I can't handle it. They won't listen to me. I can't access anything. You have to call. Leo, I really can't, I say. And for the first time, I let a tiny sliver of ice enter my voice. I have to go. My team is waiting. I hang up. I watch my phone on the desk. It immediately lights up again. Leo. I silence the call. It rings again. I silence it again. He is trapped. He is in a cage and has just, for the first time, felt the bars. The arrogance he woke up with is curdling into a cold, unfamiliar terror. He is a star financial advisor who, suddenly, has no access to any money. He doesn't know who did this or why. Just as Leo is frantically trying to call his bank's branch manager, an automated, high-priority email lands in the inbox of the chief compliance officer at his firm. The email has no sender. It's from a secure, anonymous tip line that Ms. Harding's team discovered earlier that week. The subject line is simple, urgent client account irregularities and potential fraud, Leo Vance. The body of the email is short. It just suggests that a routine audit of Mr. Vance's recent client transfers, specifically those involving his personal shell company, Vance Financial Strategies, might be in order. The clock on the wall in Leo's office reads 3:30 p.m. His world has just been dismantled in under an hour. He doesn't just drive home. He flees. He breaks every speed limit. His mind a screaming vortex of frozen and judicial hold, and Maya won't answer. He must have run from his car because the front door slams open with a crash that echoes through the house, rattling the decorative plates on the dining room wall. I don't look up. I'm in the living room, sitting in the large, comfortable armchair he always claimed was his. I'm curled up, reading a book, a delicate porcelain cup of Earl Grey tea steaming on the side table. The house is quiet, clean from the party, filled with the scent of lemon oil and bergamot. He storms into the room, his face a mottled, ugly red. He's panting, his suit jacket rumpled, his tie ripped loose from his collar. He looks wild, an animal that's chewed off its own foot to escape a trap, only to find the hunter waiting. "What did you do?" he screams. His voice cracks. It's not a question. It's an accusation ripped from his lungs. "What did you do to my accounts? Why can't I use my money?" I slowly, very slowly, place a bookmark in my novel and set it down. I pick up my teacup. The house is so quiet he can probably hear the tiny clink of the cup against the saucer. I take a sip. Our money, Leo. I say, my voice perfectly level, almost conversational. Or, to be more accurate, my money. The money you've been spending. He freezes. The apoplectic rage on his face collapses, replaced by a sudden, hollow-eyed shock. The blood drains from his face, leaving his skin a pasty, sickly white. You. His voice is a hoarse whisper. You know. I let a small, pitying smile touch my lips. No, I ask. Know about Chloe. Know about the $75,000 you invested in her brand. I set the teacup down with deliberate care. Oh, darling, I know so much more. I know about the gambling. I know about the shell company. I know about the 18 months of theft. I know about the poker room in Lodo. He just stares at me, his mouth opening and closing, making small, soundless shapes. He is a star financial advisor, a man who built his entire identity on being the smartest guy in the room, and he is realizing in real time that he has been played utterly and completely by the naive artist he married. And right at that perfect, exquisite moment of his silent shattering, the doorbell rings, a sharp, cheerful ding-dong. Leo jumps, startled. His eyes dart to the door, wild with paranoia. He probably thinks it's the police, or a process server, or his bookie. Don't answer that, he hisses. Don't be silly, Leo, I say, standing up from the armchair. It's probably just a delivery. I walk to the front door, my heels clicking on the hardwood floor I paid for. I open it. It's not a man in a suit. It's not a process server. It's Chloe. She's not the confident, sexy life coach from Instagram. She looks like a terrified college student. She's wearing jeans, a hoodie, and no makeup. Her eyes are red and puffy from crying. She is clutching, with two hands, a very expensive, very recognizable designer handbag, the one I'd seen in the background of her Live Your Best Life videos. Leo, who has followed me into the hall, makes a strangled sound. Chloe, what are you doing here? Chloe doesn't even look at him. She looks straight at me, her eyes wide with a mixture of terror and pleading. She's following her lawyer's instructions to the letter. She shoves the handbag at me. Here, she says, her voice trembling. This is the bag. It's the one he bought me. With the money. And here. She digs frantically in her pocket and pulls out a key on a plain silver ring. This is the key to the apartment, the one he was leasing for me in the tech center. I never want to see him again. She finally turns her head to look at Leo. She looks at this man who promised her a fantasy, who promised her a future. And the fear in her eyes is replaced by a sudden, burning surge of pure, unadulterated contempt. You're a liar, she spits at him, her voice rising. You're a pathetic, lying thief. You told me she was sick. You told me she was mentally unstable and you were taking care of her. You used me. She throws the apartment key. It doesn't hit him. It clatters loudly onto the polished floor of the entryway, the sound echoing in the silence. Then she turns and flees, running down the front walk to a beat-up Toyota Corolla parked at the curb, and speeds away. I look at the key on the floor. I look at the gaudy handbag she shoved into my arms. Then I look at Leo. He has collapsed. He's not on the floor, but he is being held up only by the wall he's slumped against. His face is vacant. It's the look of a man who hasn't just lost his money, his job, and his mistress. It's the look of a man who has just realized, with devastating certainty, that the entire game is over. He wasn't just outplayed. He was never even in the running. He'd been completely and totally annihilated, and he'd been hit from two sides by the two women he was so sure he controlled. The sound of Chloe's tires screeching as she peels away from the curb is the only sound in the entryway. I look down at the ugly, ostentatious handbag she shoved at me, a symbol of my husband's pathetic taste. I let it drop to the floor, next to the small silver key. Contaminated goods. I turn back to Leo. He's still propped against the wall, but he's sliding, his legs seemingly unable to hold his weight. The shock has passed, and in its place is a raw, primal terror. His face is slick with a sudden cold sweat. The mask of the star advisor, the charming husband, the alpha male it hasn't just cracked. It has disintegrated. What's left is a weak, terrified man, a hollow shell. He looks at me, his eyes wide and pleading. The anger is gone. The arrogance is gone. All that's left is the desperate, manipulative core. He pushes himself off the wall and stumbles toward me, his hands outstretched. "Maya," he chokes out, his voice wet and unfamiliar. "Baby, please, we can fix this. We can fix this. It was a mistake. A stupid mistake." He reaches for my hands. I flinch, pulling them back before his skin can touch mine. His face crumples. This is his final move, the one that has always worked. The contrite little boy. He drops to his knees on the hardwood floor. He actually kneels. "Maya, I love you," he sobs, actual tears welling in his eyes. He's a terrible actor, but he's giving the performance of his life. "I love you, only you." Chloe, she meant nothing. It was the pressure, the money. I was stupid, that's all. "Please, Maya, don't do this. We can go to counseling. We can sell the house. I'll get a second job. Whatever you want." He tries to grab my hand again, to press his wet face against it. I snatch my hand away as if he's diseased. My face, which has been a calm, cool mask for 24 hours, finally twists into the one emotion I truly feel: pure, unadulterated disgust. "Stop," I say, my voice low and cold. "Don't you ever say that to me again. You don't love me, Leo. You love my money. You loved my salary, and you loved my inheritance. And when that wasn't enough, you just started stealing." His sobbing stops, his face frozen in that grotesque mask of false penitence. He knows he's lost. He knows the charm has failed. And in that dead, terrible silence, the doorbell rings again. The ding-dong is loud, formal, and impatient. Leo's head snaps up. A new kind of fear, sharp and immediate, floods his features. He scrambles to his feet, backing away from the door, his eyes wild. "Who is that?" he hisses. "Is that your lawyer? I'm not signing anything. Tell them to go away." He looks at me, expecting me to protect him, to answer the door and send them away. I just look at him. Why don't you get it? Leo. I walk to the door and open it. It's not one man. It's three. The man in the center is in his 60s, with a face like granite, wearing a severe, dark gray suit that is far more expensive than Leo's. He looks like a man who has never smiled. The two men flanking him are younger, built like linebackers, and wearing identical black suits. They are not lawyers. They are corporate security. The man in the center looks past me, his eyes landing on the disheveled, weeping wreck of a man in my hallway. "Mr. Leo Vance?" he asks, his voice a deep baritone that carries authority. Leo, cornered, summons the last dregs of his failed arrogance. "Go away," he shouts, his voice cracking like a terrified teenager's. "I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not signing anything. Get off my property." The man in the gray suit doesn't blink. He looks at me, then back at Leo, with an expression of profound distaste. "Sir, my name is Arthur Riley. I am not here to serve you divorce papers." He lifts a leather badge holder, showing the corporate logo of Leo's financial firm. "I am the head of the Internal Investigations Board. We've had an anonymous tip regarding some irregularities in your client accounts. We need you to come with us, downtown, to answer some questions." The blood doesn't just drain from Leo's face. He turns the color of ash. I can see the calculation in his terrified eyes. Divorce is one thing. That's a fight over our money. Internal investigations, client accounts, that's not a lawsuit. That's prison. That's the end of his career, his reputation, and his freedom. This is the one thing he fears more than losing me, more than losing the house. He looks at me, his mouth open in a silent scream. He finally understands. I didn't just leave him. I didn't just take the money. I took everything. Leo doesn't protest. He can't. He's a man who has just seen the executioner's axe. Mr. Riley nods, and the two security men place their hands firmly on Leo's upper arms. They aren't asking. They are compelling. They guide him, one on each side, out of my hallway, across my threshold, and onto the front walk. He is no longer the star of the party. He's a suspect, a piece of damaged goods being removed from the premises. As they get him to the bottom of the steps, he stops, rigid. He twists in their grip, his face transformed. The terror is gone, replaced by a final desperate surge of pure acidic hatred. He looks at me, standing in the doorway of the house he thought he owned. You. He spits, the word like a curse. You did this. You planned this. You destroyed my life. You'll pay. Maya, I swear to God, you will pay. You won't get a penny. I'll take everything. And I smile. It's not the frozen, brittle smile from the party. It's not the cold, dismissive smile I gave Chloe. It's real. It starts deep in my chest, a profound wave of relief, of release, of sheer, unadulterated victory. I feel the muscles in my face relax into a genuine, warm, satisfied smile. It is the first truly happy expression I've worn in years. His threat is still hanging in the air when another man walks up the driveway. This one is younger, wearing a cheap suit and looking bored, holding a thick, legal-sized manila envelope. He looks at the corporate security detail, at the collapsing, enraged man they are holding, and then at me. He's completely unfazed. Leo Vance. He asks, his voice flat. He shoves the packet at Leo. What now? Leo screams. You've been served, the process server says, already turning to walk away, checking his phone. Leo, pinned between the two security men, rips the envelope open with a snarl. He pulls out the top sheet. The words, petition for dissolution of marriage, leap off the page. This final, personal humiliation, on top of the professional and financial ruin, breaks the last thread of his sanity. He roars, a deep, animal sound of pure, cornered rage. You think you can just take this house, he screams at me, shaking the papers so hard they rip. You think you can just kick me out. This is my house. I'll see you in court. I'll take half. I'll take half the house. I'll take half your money. You'll get nothing. He's raving, a madman on the lawn for all the neighbors to see. I step out onto the porch, folding my arms calmly over my chest. I look at this pathetic, broken creature, and I let my voice, clear and calm, cut through his tantrum. You won't get half of anything. Leo, I say, you won't get a single brick. This house was bought with money from Aunt Clara. It was placed in a revocable trust, in my name only, before we ever moved in. Your name isn't on the deed. It was never on the mortgage. You have no claim. His face contorts, searching for one last thing to wound me with. That old hag. He spits. That interfering, bitter old woman. She only left you $75,000, and I spent it. You hear me. I spent it on a 26-year-old. It's gone. You have nothing. I let his words hang in the air. I let the silence stretch. Mr. Riley and his team are watching me, waiting. Oh, Leo, I say, and my voice is light, almost laughing. That's the best part. That's the part you'll be thinking about for a very, very long time. He stares, confused. What part? That $75,000, I say, taking a step closer. The money you were so proud of investing. That wasn't my inheritance. Darling, that was Aunt Clara's loyalty test fund. His eyes are blank. Test fund. It was bait, Leo. A little test she set up before she died. just to see if you were really the greedy, stupid, faithless man she always said you were, and I have to thank you. You failed in the most spectacular way possible, because your confession last night, the one I recorded, and your fraud, the one my accountant found it just triggered the Clara protocol. The what? He whispers, his voice dead. I give him my biggest, brightest, most genuine smile of the day. It just unlocked the other account. Leo, the $2 million one, the one you never ever knew existed. Have a nice life. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I'd love to know where you're listening from, so please drop a comment below and share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to Lily Revenge Stories and like this video. It would also be a huge help if you could support us by hitting that hype button, so this story can be heard by even more people.